Hi, boys and girls. So glad you can join us on this first day of VBS. Now, as you saw in that first video, you met a good friend of mine, Professor VBS. As you know, is probably me in a disguise. But it's important that we take some time to, first of all, laugh, smile. Because boys and girls, right now, there's a lot going on in our world, and we need laughter and joy. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a very important story in the Bible. So as you heard, Professor VBS traveled to the story of creation today. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to read to you from the very first of the book of the Bible, which you all know as the book of Genesis. So this is the story of creation. A reading from the book of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was a formless wasteland, and the darkness covered the abyss, while a mighty wind swept over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw how good the light was. Then God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Thus evening came, and morning followed, the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a dome in the middle of the waters, to separate one body of water from the other." And so it happened. God made the dome, and it separated the water above the dome from the water below it. God called the dome the sky. Evening came, and morning followed, the second day. Then God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered into a single basin, so that the dry land may appear." And so it happened. The water under the sky was gathered into its basin, and the dry land appeared. God called the dry land earth, and the basin of the water he called the sea. God saw how good it was. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree on earth that bears fruit with its seed in it." And so it happened. The earth brought forth every kind of plant that bears seeds, and every kind of fruit tree on earth that bears fruit within its seed. God saw how good it was. Evening came, and morning followed, the third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to separate day from night. Let them fix the marked times, the days, and the years, and serve as luminaries in the dome of the sky, to shed light upon the earth." And so it happened. God made the two great lights, the greater one to govern the day, and the lesser one to govern the night. And he made the stars. God set them in the dome of the sky to shed light upon the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw how good it was. Evening came, and morning followed, the fourth day. Then God said, "Let the waters teem with the abundance of living creatures, and on the earth let birds fly beneath the dome of the sky." And so it happened. God created the great sea monsters and all kinds of swimming creatures that which the water teems, and all kinds of winged birds. God saw how good it was, and God blessed them, saying, "Be fertile, multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." Evening came, morning followed, the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth all kinds of living creatures, cattle, creeping things and wild animals of all kinds. And so it happened. God made all kinds of wild animals, all kinds of cattle, and all kinds of creeping things on the earth. God saw how good it was. Then he said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and the cattle, and over all the wild animals, and all the creatures that crawl on the ground." God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them, saying, "Be fertile and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and all the living creatures that move on the earth." God also said, "See, I give you every seed-bearing plant over all the earth, and every tree that's seed-bearing fruit on it, for your food. And to all the animals of the land, all the birds of the air, and all the living creatures that crawl on the ground, I give all the green plants for food." And so it happened. God looked at everything he had made, and he found it very good. Evening came, and morning followed, the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth and all their array were completed. Since on the seventh day God was finished with the work he has been doing, he rested on the seventh day from all the work he had undertaken. Now, boys and girls, when we look at this story, obviously we know God created everything as a gift for us. Gifts that we should treasure. But it's important that when we think about the world we're living in right now, with all the issues that we're having, we start with the story of creation because we know that God created everything out of love. We are created in his image, which means we should act and speak just like him. When I look at you and when you look at me, we should always see God. It helps us understand that God is always there. When you do something good towards one another, that's God working through you. So what I want to ask of you is today, take some time to think about all the things God created. Thank him. Let him know that you appreciate it. Sometimes even the simplest things of maybe if you go out for a run or you're playing outside and you're really thirsty and you go into the house and you take a big glass of water and you drink it, the feeling of that relief of the water going down your throat, the coolness that it gives you. Where did that water come from? It's a gift from God. Sometimes we forget those things to thank God. When we pray, a lot of times, what do? We ask God for something. But what I want to do is, I want to encourage you today, boys and girls, to thank God. Let him know how much his gifts that he created for you means to you. Now, I also have on the website another video to explain creation a little bit more to you. But boys and girls, in closing, before we meet again tomorrow, I just want you to know that God is always there. If you remember at the very beginning of the story, God was there. He's always there. He was there before the world was created, and he'll be there when the world ends. Let him be with you deep in your hearts. Call him. He'll answer you. Tell him you love him. Tell him thank you. Be with him during this time. God bless all of you, and I'll see you tomorrow when I believe we're going to travel to hear about Noah and his ark. God bless you.